Our opinions aren't too tough, rough, or gruff. We are proof that you don't have to be an expert to have an opinion. So just
Shut up and sit down.
This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff. This is Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff.
Ciao.
Let's go. The madness that is March is upon us.
It is. John Rothstein declared it is March, which is all we need.
This is an odd month. So we've got over the football hangover. We're into the transition of sports. And it just feels tense. Feels tense.
You feel
Maybe
tense.
I
don't feel tense about it.
I
feel excited.
See, that's your business. You always get amped for this. So
yeah, I do love this.
I hate this part of the year.
Really?
Oh, NASCAR. Who would have thought you would hate that NASCAR's happening?
Give me April into summer. I don't like March.
All right. January, February is the madness is here with college basketball. The NFL also kind of crazy.
I was gonna say that's a madness in and of itself.
Yep.
We got some breaking news from everybody but Adam Schefter. I feel like right before this happened. I mean, he didn't break it because we'll get into it later. Baseball also had some madness this week.
Well, baseball did baseball things.
It did, and then Tom Brady broke the internet, which is what was alluded to no less than 10 seconds ago. Yeah. We will have a betting episode this week.
Yeah, we will.
I'm excited for that. Give me that.
It will come out as early as Tuesday in anticipation for the first round games that start on Thursday. As much as I want to say that the play-in games are going to be part of our betting situation, they probably won't be.
Oh, I'm ready to go. Let's do this.
We're not doing it right now, Jim. We'll do this later.
But I'm saying, I'm amped.
Are you?
So amped.
Wait, didn't we just go from a second ago you weren't excited?
Did you hate the month of March?
I don't like this month, but when it comes to this whole pick basketball game thing, I'm ready.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that.
We also have a bracket challenge. It's already shared on our social media. Get into it. It's through ESPN. Winners get some prizes. It's free entry. We'll figure it. You'll win something.
Stickers.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Brady made his decision. My guy, as Jim likes to call him, Aaron Rodgers, also made his decision this past week. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Browns get a new wide receiver. Things happen with people from Seattle.
You're giving it all away. Come on.
Well, the Browns get a new wide receiver. It's like the Browns getting a new quarterback. It just happens
all the time.
And then nothing good comes of that move. So I just want to get it out of the way now
that's fair.
The Browns got somebody new that's probably not going to help the situation. LeBron put up a 50 burger. It's pretty historic.
Up a 54 burger.
Right, 50 plus, 50 burger.
But I just like how Katie did a little bit more today
than LeBron,
and then asked the mayor, "Hey, mayor, fix this mandate situation."
That's also something to talk about.
Katie also told one of his opponents that he was little.
Well, is he little?
Huh?
Isn't everyone little in comparison?
To Katie, I mean, Katie's tall. I'm not gonna say he's a stout human being.
Okay.
Our interns are back at it this week.
Yep.
Week 1, we're still on the radio, or we haven't got canceled. So
yeah,
some of our interns are back. I got some breaking news in the intern department. We'll get there.
Ooh, something to look forward to in the intern.
Or maybe not look forward to, depending on the situation.
Yeah,
depending on how you feel about it.
I don't know. We're about to find out. That's about all we got. So as always, follow us at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter. The Twitter machine was up and running this past weekend, and probably will be throughout the entire basketball tournament.
It was definitely up and running.
Sports Stuff W/Jim Ampersand Muff on Facebook. Follow the YouTube channel. Watch the videos. Listen to the episodes. Do the things. And let's get into the show.
This is the offseason.
It is. There we go. The NFL offseason. A time for us to talk about the NFL because it's football and we like to talk about football. Mm-hmm. And things happened. We actually have things really happened. We have a good bit of things to chat about.
Aaron Rodgers. So now we got things to talk about, guys.
Wow, we have things to talk about.
Oh, we had things to talk about last week too.
But you said now we have things to talk about.
We
actually have things to talk about.
Well, yeah, because people started to make moves. Aaron Rodgers was not the only one to make a move.
So if Aaron Rodgers was like, Muff, I want to be your best friend, would you be like, yeah, I'm down?
I feel like, to be fair, I would do that as well.
Yeah, unsolicited, or like, are we having another conversation? Like, how does this come to be?
Would you be his towel boy?
For the right price?
There's a difference between asking to be his best friend and being his towel boy.
Right. Would you be his towel boy?
Would I work for the Aaron Rodgers enterprise?
As a towel boy?
I mean, I would want to know the terms.
Okay, so it's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
I think that there is a price for everything. If you're gonna pay me $100,000 to like wash his towels and just make sure he has clean sweat towels to use, oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's like
easy.
Like a six month out of your job. I can do something else for the other 6 months and be golden.
Sorry, guys.
Is that a buzzer?
No, I just cleared my throat.
And not in quick thoughts?
Yeah, no, I just cleared my throat and then forgot I was like live on air but not live. But...
All right. So anyway, some of the stuff that happened in the week that was in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers did make a decision to come back to Green Bay for a still to be determined deal. There were initial reports that it was 4 years worth about $50 million per year, which would make him the highest paid, I think, by year. If you're looking at annual contract, Rodgers came out later and said this was false, reported to his insider, Pat McAfee. But it does seem pretty clear that it's a cat-friendly deal because the next day Davante Adams was franchise tagged, and you got to realize that if you're going to have the highest paid contract there, that's going to be tough to probably bring Davante Adams back on that franchise tag without a cat-friendly deal.
Can we just talk about how Pat McAfee is...
Green Bay rejoices.
Is Aaron Rodgers' mouthpiece?
Oh, yeah.
Like, first off, I went to a meeting at my work, and I went to the restroom where they have a TV. Wild. Get to that later.
That's awesome.
What a time to be alive.
Right? I was like, why am I not always working here? Anyway, and there was Get Up, which you know how I feel about Get Up. So it was a draw for me. I'm like, sports in the restroom. Shit, it's Get Up. But there was Pat McAfee being interviewed about all things Aaron Rodgers, and I was just like, what? How does that work? Is Pat on the payroll?
I don't think Pat's on the payroll, but it's Pat's way to be an insider without being an insider.
He's got the greatest hustle.
I think it's mutually beneficial.
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
The two-time MVP has, the airtime whenever he wants it on Pat McAfee's show, and Pat McAfee gets to break news to the world about him. I mean,
it's wild.
It's a good gig for everybody, I think.
So why don't we have an MVP on our show?
Start naming MVPs that you want to reach out to, Jim.
I'm gonna find a wing-eating MVP.
Okay, there we go.
Get him on our show.
This is a different type of MVP at a different level.
If you are an MVP of something, reach out to the show. We will be your spokespeople.
I mean, we have had, an MVP on the show before.
Who?
From the Kokomo Bobcats, Hawk.
That's true. We have. That's true.
So we have had that distinction before. The Player of the Week, the Basketball League, multiple weeks, buzzer beaters, Sports Center Top 10, Hawk. Been on the show. Look at us. From MVPs to GOATs. Tom Brady, everybody. Welcome to the show. Not really welcome to the show, but welcome back to the NFL. You've decided to unretire just after the
he
men's.
filed his taxes.
Well, he's in Florida. What taxes is he paying?
That's true.
That's part of the allure.
Do you want to know what I think is the best part of this?
Okay, listening.
Ben Roethlisberger will now be the star of his Hall of Fame class.
Oh.
There were actually some tongue-in-cheek tweets that I saw come out. I think they're tongue-in-cheek. If people took this seriously, then they've got bigger issues at hand. Saying Tom Brady's coming back so he didn't have to compete with the Steelers fan base in Canton.
Can you blame him? Jim, comment.
We're a little right. A little bit of that's some legitimacy, I think.
Some. If people really truly meant that deep down in their heart, then I think they need to reevaluate some things.
All right.
But anyway, Tom Brady comes back, announces just after the basketball brackets come out for the men's side.
Yeah, God forbid we let the basketball players have a moment.
Or the female basketball players have anything.
Well, that's happening right now as we record.
Bet we're not talking about it on Sports Center.
I bet we're not talking about it on Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff either.
That's true.
Okay, so as we get that clear, listen, I have enough trouble keeping up with 168 team tournament, let alone 2. Something was fishy. I'm not gonna lie. So when this is all was starting to come out, it's 6 o'clock. Whenever the men's bracket reveal show started, I saw some tweets coming out from some NFL insiders like Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, reporting deals and information about happenings in the NFL. And I thought, this is really weird for them to do like the Friday news dump during the bracket challenge or during the bracket reveal. And then the hammer dropped. And I was like, was this just all a lead in to Tom Brady coming back? Of them putting feelers out there, putting out little things so they at least get in people's timelines. And it's like, oh, by the way, Tom Brady returning to the Buccaneers.
What are you going to do?
Who knew first? Did Cristiano Ronaldo know before anybody else aside from Tom Brady's family?
Who's Tom Brady's, outlet?
Yeah, like who does he go to?
I don't think Bill. Is it good Bill?
Who's just Pat McAfee?
No.
I don't think he has a mouthpiece for him, does he? I mean, it's probably just the league itself. But he announced his retirement totally away from the media spotlight.
I know Schefter wasn't the go-to on this one.
Nobody was.
If I was Schefter, even if I heard it, I think I'd just stay away from it.
Yeah.
I would be like, I just got out of that rabbit hole. I don't want to go back down it.
Exactly.
Did you guys see the Cristiano Ronaldo video that was going on?
No.
So Saturday, yesterday, Tom Brady was at a soccer match in England. Yeah, it was an English match. I forget who Cristiano plays for they were on the field, and a hot mic caught Cristiano Ronaldo asking Tom Brady, "So you're really retired, right?" And Tom Brady gave the one of those shrug things and didn't respond. So there was already people in the world saying, is this something happening? So that was on Saturday, and then Sunday evening we get this news. So Cristiano Ronaldo may have put it out into the world first that something may be going down here.
Maybe that was Tom Brady's teaser. Like he was using this whole thing, like going to a soccer game, knowing someone would ask him a question, and he could put it out there.
I feel no different.
You feel no different?
I feel no different.
All I know is that I put in a waiver request for Tom Brady in my dynasty league, since he's back on a team now. In other news, Kirk Cousins get re-signed by the Vikings.
Crickets.
Nobody.
I don't hate Kirk. When Kirk Cousins is good, Kirk Cousins is good. He's just unreliable. But I think it's good for the Vikings. Who else? In this quarterback climate right now, who are they going to get that's better than Kirk Cousins?
That's what I was going to say. It's a steady hand.
Not Deshaun Watson.
We'll get to that, won't we?
I think we will.
We'll get to it here somewhere. Trades, notable trades. This was the week of people announcing they're coming back and of trades, including Russ Wilson getting traded to Denver, adding to the franchise's history of bringing in veteran QBs to help get the team over the top. Denver gets Russ Wilson, a 2022 fifth rounder, while the Seahawks get Denver's first and second round picks for the next 2 years, the 2022 fifth rounder, and QB Drew Lock, tight end Noah Fant, and defensive lineman Shelby Harris. Who do we think wins this deal?
I'm going to say the Seahawks.
I think it depends on which Russell Wilson shows up in Denver. If it's Russell Wilson of, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when he had like the Seahawks, when he was cooking.
It's really cooking.
But I think if he goes and he's the same Russ as last year, then the Seahawks definitely win.
So you're on the Seahawks, Jim?
I'm still Seahawks.
So 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I would have been on the Seahawks side, but I think we've at this point crossed the threshold of if you're able to get a proven entity, especially the crucial position such as quarterback, you take that because you don't know what that draft is going to give you as far as the output. At least you have an understanding of what Russ is giving you. We all know Drew Lock was not the answer. And what is Seattle going to do at quarterback? So does this just set them back another 2 to 3 years? That's Matt Stafford. That's all I'm going to say. Stafford. Peyton Manning went to Denver and did this towards the end of his career. Granted, Peyton Manning, Russ Wilson are two different players going to Denver right now. But that's John Elway has this propensity to do these things.
I think bringing up Matt Stafford was the best comparison I can think of. Because the Denver Broncos aren't a bad team. I mean, they started off last season really good. They just started to tank because Drew Lock's not their answer. And
all right. Anything else on that one? We good?
I'm trying to find the draft order now that this whole shakeup has happened. But the Seahawks have the 9th pick, the 40th, 41st, 70th. They have 1 pick in the 4th, 2 picks in the 5th, and a pick in the 7th. The 9th pick overall in the first round is not a bad spot to sit.
No, I agree.
Yeah, it just depends on what the
quarterback.
Again, but they're going to pick up a quarterback that is going to take multiple years to probably, because I think everybody's really with this quarterback class thinking nobody's coming out ready in this quarterback class this year.
But is that bad?
Well, if you're going to stick them in year one, and they're not ready,
need to have them year one.
You got to know. You got to know what you got. I'm not saying it's got to be the whole year one, but at some point, year one, you got to imagine Drew Lock. The fans of Seattle are going to gripe hard enough that Drew Lock is not going to be in there the whole year, unless they're winning.
It's interesting.
It is. Carson Wentz gets traded to the We Are Commanders, along with a second round pick and a 7th round pick in 2022. The Colts get a second round pick and a 3rd round pick in a 2023 conditional 3rd round pick, which could elevate to a 2nd round pick if Wentz plays 70% of the snaps for Washington this year. Why is this always a tag along for Carson Wentz's deals that if he plays over a certain amount of snaps, people get more things?
I have no idea.
I feel like I don't believe in those little addendums. I think you get what you take what you can get, and it's the nature of the game is you're taking a risk.
It is a risk. I agree.
I was listening to the local Fox News Fox Sports, whatever it is, station on the AM radio, because I'm 92. And they were talking about should someone call Phillip Rivers if you're the Colts and say, hey, buddy, you had a year off. You get the rest. Come on back.
Yeah.
They were like really like of all the quarterbacks you could like make jokes about doing that for. They're like Philip Rivers is a pretty legit option, even if just for like a year holdover. And
yeah,
the Colts have unfortunately been in a whirlwind situation since Andrew Luck decided to retire on them. Like
yeah,
this is all coming back to that because they thought they were set up for the next 5 to 10 years.
oh, and they would have been.
Mm-hmm. So this all comes back to that where they're scrambling right now because their franchise was set up for Andrew Luck to be the franchise quarterback.
it's interesting. I don't understand the Commanders' move. Why they want Carson Wentz.
It is interesting. Taylor Heineke has not done terrible things for them.
Yeah, I would have focused on other things, I think, and let the Heineke train play out for a little bit.
Yeah. For one more year.
Yeah.
Get him a couple more weapons. Why not?
That's it. Khalil Mack gets traded to the Chargers, Jim.
Yeah.
From the Bears for a 2022 second-round pick and a 2023 sixth-round pick. The Chargers are taking on all of Mack's 3-year, $63.9 million deal, which is the main sticking point as to why the Bears were willing to deal him. They were looking for somebody who's going to pick up this money and to give them more dead cap space.
Okay.
Chargers might have a decent defense next year.
Why is Khalil Mack becoming the person that gets shipped around? Like what about Khalil Mack makes he was at the Raiders and they shipped him to the Bears?
Well, that deal was like the Raiders to the Bears situation was because Gruden's an idiot.
Well, if Gruden's an idiot, does that also now make the Bears ownership? Well,
No,
we've already thought they were they?
I think this is more of an age thing. I don't think that he is worth now at the age he is the money that they're paying him.
It's only been a year or two.
2 years, and he didn't produce the results the Bears thought he was going to produce. The Bears are trying to rebuild, get younger. Makes sense for me for the Bears to get rid of him. The Chargers, I don't get it. Like,
I mean, this is another person on the line, right? They should have a formidable defensive line
but the safeties are the issue. The DBs are where you're getting blown up.
Yeah, maybe they're using the theory of if they don't have time to throw the ball, then they can't find the wide open receivers down the field.
This isn't college football. Whatever.
Amari Cooper going from the Cowboys to the Browns. The Browns get Amari Cooper in a 2022 sixth-round pick, and the Cowboys get a 2022 fifth and sixth-round pick. This really came down to at least the Cowboys get something out of this. There's a lot of chatter that Cooper being released from the Cowboys was a planted story to help understand what the Cowboys could get as opposed to just releasing him.
There's other chatter that he got into it with Dak. That's the whole reason they were cutting him. So
this is another one of those. It could be all of the above. I think they also wanted to get rid of some cap space because, a couple of days later, Michael Gallup gets signed to a 5-year, $62.5 million deal with the Cowboys.
He did.
And then once Amari Cooper, go ahead, Browns fan, Jim.
I will say, if they release Jarvis Landry, he goes elsewhere, trade situation. I think if the Browns play their cards right, Baker could have a lot more weapons with the draft and everything. And there's no reason for him not to be successful. Said that last year, too.
So, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Nick Chubb. Not the answer.
Right. And they'll probably pick up an Ohio State wide receiver.
Where are they at in the draft?
They
top 10.
I just looked at 13.
From what I've gathered, top 20, you're still going to get, I think, the top 3 or 4 wide receiver prospects that are trending to still be on the board at that point. Top 15, top 20.
If they'll either get Olave or Wilson, one of the two. That's my guess.
What a sad story for that receiver that ends up in Cleveland.
That's it, man. Like, I concur.
I mean, at least they found a quarterback to stick around long enough. At least that's not the issue anymore in the Tim Couch days. Notable releases from the NFL this past week. Bobby Wagner, released by the Seahawks, and goes to Twitter to share that he didn't find out from the organization about his release. And Richard Sherman chimes in and says that he experienced a similar situation when he was released by the Seahawks. Is this business as usual, or is this something to be like the Seahawks are screwing up?
I don't like the way the Seahawks do business. I don't. I think they don't really have that player attachment that other organizations do.
Even though Pete Carroll is like the consummate players coach. Is that where it stops? It stops at the head coach.
It's not ownership.
I was just going to say that, yeah, that you can be a great coach on the field and players coach and stuff, but if your front office isn't player positive or whatever, I don't know.
Maybe that's why they keep him, because he is that person. They're like, oh well, if Pete does all this stuff, then
I think that's part of the disconnect. I think that's why they have so many issues.
I put in perspective, like, okay, I'm working at my job for like 5 years, and then we get like the weekly newsletter, and it's like, oh, best of luck to Alex at his, wherever he lands in his next, location. And you're like, wait a second, what?
Breaking news. The Chargers have extended their kicker, Dustin Hopkins. They're bringing him back.
Oh.
I thought this was exciting news.
Yeah, I was a lot more excited than.
I don't know why I got the notification on my phone. I mean, I understand I'm a Chargers fan, but dang.
We
need to look at what's notification ready.
The metaverse was listening.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know how I feel about Seattle right now either on this. But the Cowboys are in talks with Bobby Wagner. He played under Dan Quinn in Seattle, now the defensive coordinator in Dallas. Maybe Bobby will end up there.
Maybe. I'm
trying to think, what is Dallas trying to fill? Van Der Esch, Sean Lee. Van Der Esch is their starting middle backer. Sean Lee, I think, retired. So maybe they're just trying to find another middle backer to play in their system. It works. The Cowboys, speaking of kickers, Jim, released their kicker, Greg Zuerlein, and tight end Blake Jarwin.
Blake Jarwin wasn't very. I don't think he ranked very high, did he?
No. So Blake Jarwin's hurt. So he could file for like an injury protection thing, and the Cowboys would not be able to cut him in order to like save cap space. Like it wouldn't help them at all.
Okay.
Or he could just take it, I think, and go wherever he wants.
Alex, you spend a lot of time on this part of the business, and it surprises me.
Really?
Yeah, I would not see this out of you. This is more of a Muff area kind of thing. So, kudos to you.
Okay. I just like to know, all the deets.
Yeah. And Patriots have released outside linebacker Kyle Van Noy, who was released by Miami last year, picked up by the Patriots, and had a good season overall. So I'm guessing
I think so too. I think you're right.
This is the opposite of what the trend you're seeing. You're seeing, well, never mind. I apologize. This is the exact trend, because this is intended to free up cap space, because the vet min is higher than the rookie min. So that's one of the big things that I've heard saw in the Twitter sphere, heard on some radio and podcasts and some TV stuff, is whenever teams get to the point where they're choosing between do we want to hold on to a veteran, or do we want to maybe somebody that's 3 or 4 on the depth chart go to a rookie, you can save $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 by going for the lower serviced player. And I can just save money here and there. So we got that. And lastly, in the NFL news, Deshaun Watson will not be indicted criminally on any criminal charges, which has now started the train on where will he end up, who will make the move for Deshaun Watson, and what organization is willing to take that chance of what could be still coming in the civil suits.
Civil suits don't really affect the team, first of all. Like,
it's the press. The press. It's the public opinion.
Is he going to screw up again? Where's he at mentally?
Did he screw up? I'd say I feel like we can finally touch on this a smidge.
Well, we have some clarity now.
We've danced on this, around this, in between this. Can we just talk about for 1 second how Schefter came out, was like, he's been cleared, but that doesn't necessarily make him innocent, in my backup tweet. It was like, well, Shefty, maybe you should not touch this one. But, like, I get he has been declared not criminally responsible. I understand. I still contend the league needs to reveal their investigation if they did one. But they probably won't. Panthers are probably going to chase after him pretty hard, from what I understand. Does he still have the chops to do it?
Well, I think that's going to be the offseason for him, right? I think if somebody wants to take that chance, they need to take it now, so that they have an entire offseason, all of the OTAs, everything over the summer, to actually make this work, and not do one of those like, oh, we're going to wait until between OTAs and training camp. Like, I think if you're going to do this, you need the full time from within the next 3 weeks before the draft until the start of the season to really understand and get him back into the groove of the game.
I kind of just want the logic explained to me. Okay. Like, what was the guy from the 49ers that took a knee?
Colin Kaepernick.
Thank you. Kaepernick sits, and they're like, well, he sat. Like, probably not very good. He sat. And if we were putting Kaepernick against Watson athletically, there's a distinct difference. I understand that. But, like, the inactivity, the argument is still there.
Well, that argument is still there, but Colin Kaepernick also did not leave as a starting quarterback at that time. He was not number one. Deshaun Watson was number one and has been out for a year.
Sure. And I started my statement with, athletically there's differences.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's not athletically. This isn't an athletic conversation. This is, are you one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the league? Deshaun Watson was. That's not just all based on athleticism. That's the whole package.
Okay.
I would say Colin Kaepernick is the superior athlete between those two. Deshaun Watson is a better quarterback.
Fine. Sure. My next statement is, like, we all can say there was probably some finger on the button of, we're not going to hire you because of what you did with the knee. How are we not, like, putting the black ball, pardon the pun, on Deshaun Watson the same on this?
Has anybody signed him yet, Jim?
I'm reading an ESPN article right now that says Panthers plan aggressive Watson offer.
There's people that are planning all of these things, and they say they are, but until somebody signs them, and you got to remember,
didn't see that for Kaepernick,
because he was not one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Muff, we can have that debate. Like, I'm trying not to be very aggressive with you right now. People were hired with in the meantime that were past.
I understand that. Listen, that argument is always going to be out there. It is, the next argument is, what are you looking for in your backup quarterback? Peyton Manning didn't want somebody that was going to compete with him. Peyton Manning wanted somebody to do all his work for him so that he could figure it out. Dan Orlovsky was his backup.
Starters that
Dan Orlovsky was his backup, Jim. Peyton Manning. Two different people, Peyton Manning and Colin Kaepernick. Peyton Manning's backup was Dan Orlovsky.
There were people hired for starters in New York that were worse than Kaepernick.
How do you know that? Are you an NFL talent evaluator? Do we add another guru to your title?
Up there. We could match some stats.
You could buy
Kaepernick's starting stats against the starters in New York, if you'd like.
In his last year, I don't know. I don't know what those stats look like.
Probably better than New York. He probably won more games.
So winning games makes you a better quarterback?
I would think that's the whole reason you're there is to win the game.
Didn't Tim Tebow lead a team to the playoffs and then get cut 2 years later?
Probably a better quarterback than some of them that were in New York.
But he was still cut. He was out of the league.
Probably still a better quarterback than some of those that got hired in New York. My whole point is
Deshaun Watson
calling him a little bit. Why are we not going? I'm not going to touch that more.
Deshaun Watson didn't play all of last year
because he
was
what? With the Texans,
right? But he wasn't playing. He was on roster. He collected a check.
Okay, you got me on that argument. You got me on that argument. They could have traded for him.
They could have. People could have done anything during this whole time. So they waited until.
But he was facing criminal charges. Kaepernick.
He was not. He was not facing criminal charges.
What's an indictment, Muff? He had his future was in doubt.
A grand jury said they weren't taking it to trial, so there were no criminal.
All of last year, they were still doing an investigation on whether he could be taken to trial.
Right, there were no criminal charges.
So they were in question.
That was in question, but there were no criminal charges yet.
Kaepernick had there was no question on Kaepernick's civil liberties. He wasn't going to be in a jail cell. There was no question on that.
I'm just talking about Deshaun Watson here, Jim. You brought up Colin Kaepernick. These are apples and oranges to me.
I'm just saying, I get last year, okay. I'll give you that argument, Muff. But we should probably stay away from him for maybe another year.
Well, the good news is the Chargers nor the Steelers or the Browns
the Steelers might need a quarterback. That was my next point after we moved past this.
I hope not him.
The Steelers as an organization, I do not think are going to make that bold of a move.
Okay, let's move past Deshaun for a second. Can we please put the Steelers on the clock here? What is the Steelers going to do for a quarterback?
Mason Rudolph.
In my soul.
They've said he will be part of the competition. They have not said he's the starter. They say right now I think he's the starter. They did re-sign Dwayne Haskins. I don't know what
this is. D-Train and Rudolph.
Wow, I feel like there's going to be a third person entered into the conversation. I just don't know who.
But where's that coming from? Are we going to sign somebody, or are we waiting on the draft?
That's the question that nobody in Pittsburgh land knows, Jim.
So, you guys can't hypothesize? That's not a thing for you?
In the Roonies
in
we
Steeler
trust.
Land, you can?
In the Roonies we trust.
This is why you Yinzers are just assholes sometimes. The rest of us, we can, well, this is what we're going to do, maybe, and this is what we're going to do, maybe. You guys are nope, we're not going to talk about it. Nope, that rainstorm is coming. Not going to do it.
When's the last time Shefty broke news about Pittsburgh before Pittsburgh people knew about it?
So you guys just don't fantasy book. You don't just think about it.
No,
we have Mason Rudolph. It sucks, but that's what's happening right now.
I just like to pretend it's not happening. To be completely honest. To your point, actually, we just pretend it's not happening and hope for the best.
Okay.
We'll address it all at a later date.
Okay.
What are the Chargers doing with their DBs, Jim? Do you want to hypothesize on that?
Gonna blow it. I have no problem with the Chargers fan going, they're gonna ruin this. And it'll be another year of shit.
Right, but you're not hypothesizing who they're gonna ruin it with. That's what you're asking us to do.
That's like saying which bag of trash is gonna suck the worst. It's all trash.
They can find DBs on the market that are better than what they have. Can't they?
But they haven't yet.
This is going to be a couple years of, unfortunately, I think for the Steelers, it's going to be, who is it, Alex? The Bubby Brister, Mike Tomczak days.
Yeah.
We're really going back to that? Is that the mindset that you all
have?
When
you had Ben Roethlisberger for so many years, there's no more recency bias for us to, or recency comparison for us to talk about.
So you don't see somebody next year in the college game that you're like eyeing up.
Well, the people say Kenny Pickett, but they also thought Dan Marino, and that didn't happen. So,
okay, all right,
we'll see. And that wraps up. What is this, Jim?
The offseason. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take a second, and I want everyone to remember when they were in high school. Okay? Think about the cafeteria. Think about the lunch ladies, the librarians. I want you to remember what you were working for. Maybe it was a sport. Maybe it was a job. Maybe it was theater. Maybe it was band. Maybe it was something. Maybe it's just trying to graduate. Some of us were trying to excel for just to be enough. Some of us were trying to excel to get an okay scholarship. Some of us were trying to make ends meet. Then there was the select few. The rarefied air, if you will. Those with talent enough, who worked hard, put that extra sweat equity in, but also were gifted and graced with whatever supreme being you choose to believe in, with those talents that took them to the next level. The D1 athletes, the child savants, the chosen few. The ones you see on television and think, they're supposed to be there, right? Muff, Alex, we know who we're talking about when we say that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Naomi Osaka.
She was not in my high school, just so we're clear.
Correct. But I mean, these young kids.
Right.
Yes.
Justin Fields. Name some college athletes, Muff.
Justin Fields isn't even a college athlete.
But you know what I mean. That's the first one that came to my head.
He was at one point. I mean, LeBron James.
LeBron James, perfect example. Didn't necessarily go to college, but
I was just going to say.
Right out of high school.
Well, that's a savant, right? That's the savant of
Correct.
savants when you think about it in the athletic world.
I think sometimes we fail to realize that the people we're watching on TV are in their 18, 19, 20, all the way up to 24, 25, 26 year of age. And that they are dealing with their own personal stuff in a lot of situations. Naomi Osaka was playing tennis this weekend, and a fan decided to say, "You suck," basically heckling her, and it rattled her.
Mm-hmm.
There are some out there who would say, wow, this is a sport. You're supposed to be built mentally tough. Oh, okay. She's 24, 26 years old. And this is all that, she was done as this sport, She's still a kid. What were you doing at 24 through 26, Muff? We were working.
We were responsible for people's lives to some degree. So,
but I very much remember the decisions that we've made, because I was with you at 24 to 26. The pressure that we faced, and we were just working stiffs. And some of those decisions could crack us. I remember hanging out with you at nights, going, man. And that was just our jobs. This young individual is on the world stage, looked at to be a role model. Okay?
And takes that seriously.
And very seriously. The Williams sisters faced the same kind of heckling at similar ages at the same place that she got heckled. In fact, they boycotted that tournament for years because of the heckling. And
there's a little bit more to that one, but
sure. I mean, Papa was in there, but I think it's crazy. And so then I see that, and that was the tail end of this weekend. But then I saw, and I know I'm Ohio State homer, but Harry Miller from Ohio State retired from collegiate football, and you think to yourself, I just saw the headline, he retired from collegiate football. And I'm like, well, who does that? He tried to commit suicide. Luckily, Ryan Day, and I'm not here to champion Ryan Day as I usually am, but in this situation, Ryan Day and his staff, support staff, probably saved that young man's life by getting him help and continuous help and following along. And he mentions people would ask, what's wrong with Harry Miller? Why isn't he playing to the level of he should be? And let me tell you, in Columbus, happens all the time. Some 5-star recruit, Mr. Ohio, comes in, and he's not playing to Mr. Ohio level, and that is the talk of town. Wow, he's garbage. A lot of hype, Mr. Hype. And some kid who's 18, 19, 20 basically just gets dogged in a whole city. And it's not just a Columbus thing. And I say all this, and I make this whole point because we've entered March Madness. We're going to talk about college basketball. And I like to think, Muff, you can correct me if I'm wrong, we do a fairly decent job at staying away from the kids of sports. We try to just speak on, when we bust on people, we try to speak to the adults.
Well, the people getting paid and
right.
their job. They're more emotionally developed.
And NIL has brought some different levels to the payment situation now. But it's not their job necessarily. Yeah.
We speak to Kevin.
Well, you speak to Kevin a lot.
Jerry Jones.
Well, you have the point, because it's like the same people that sit and rag on some of these young kids, and you have like a kid of equal age who's like smoking dope in their basement and
right,
eating cheeseburgers and living off, rent free in your house, when these kids are out there like busting their asses and successful and doing good things. And instead of applauding the fact that they're at least doing the good thing, you're ripping them down for not being good enough while you have like your own issues.
I get that we pay a ticket to go see these athletes play. I get that this is entertainment, but I'm also asking, as I always ask, for human decency and self-awareness. As we enter March Madness, that's what I'm asking for. Okay? This isn't, grown adults speaking to grown adults. And even then, you should probably have some human decency. But these are kids out there.
And given the recent tragedy of Katie Meyer at Stanford, let's put into perspective what can be the outcome of having a significant negative impact to a person's life, psyche, mental health, emotional health, all of those things.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. If you're sitting at a tennis match and you yell, "You suck," why? Like, you're at a tennis match. Maybe you suck.
I was going to say, you're watching, not playing, so you're not that good either.
Like, come on. So that's my only, and I don't want to be a downer here. I just want to simply just say, like, come on, it's entertainment. Let's just relax. So that's my beef.
Treat the kids how you would expect an adult to treat your kids at that age.
Yes. And I was trying not to be that dad in this moment, but yes.
I'm not a dad per se, but I'll do it.
That's it. Because I was thinking about that Naomi Osaka, and like she's sitting there in tears, and she's rattled, and it's just like, that would suck if that was my kid.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my take.
It's March, the month after February, sometimes referred to as the Izzo month, which means
it's the madness of March. Yeah.
Macho Man just apparently made his way into studio. Yes, the NCAA basketball tournaments are here. We're going to do some chatter about the men's side and do some chatter about the women's side. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So to start off on the men's side, the field is set on Sunday with the bracket reveal through CBS. And the top 4 seeds in each region are in the West. We have Gonzaga, the number 1 overall seed, Duke, the number 2 seed, Texas Tech, the 3 seed, Arkansas, the 4 seed. In the East, we got Baylor at 1, Kentucky, Purdue, UCLA. In the South, the Wildcats of Arizona, followed by Villanova, Tennessee, and Illinois. And in the Midwest, the Jayhawks of Kansas, followed by Auburn, Wisconsin, and Providence as the 4 seed in the Midwest. A little bit of a breakdown. Conferences with the most teams on the men's side. The Big 10 has 9. The Big East, Big 12, and SEC have 6, and ACC has 5. The biggest snubs appear to be thus far Georgia and Texas A&M is the team that everyone is saying should have made into the tournament over a team like, Jim will appreciate this, Michigan.
Yeah. But Michigan beat Ohio State, and that's what got them in.
I don't know if that's exactly what got them in.
It was a boost.
It was a boost.
That's what everybody says.
That's who's everybody. I need sources.
All the sportscasters on the TVs.
In Ohio?
Yeah,
in Columbus?
On the Big Ten channel.
The Big Ten channel. But the most notable snub of all of them is Bellarmine College. Who was almost Amen. Bellarmine was almost in the situation last year. I think they were in the semifinals in the Atlantic Sun Conference. Bellarmine, Jim, because I know you probably don't know anything about this one, is not eligible after making the leap.
We talked about this
last year. But this year they actually won the tournament.
Yeah, we knew this was coming.
So they're not eligible after making the leap from D2 in 2020, despite winning their conference championship. And here's the best part. It's not even the team that they beat in the championship game that gets to go to the tournament. It's the team that won the regular season crown. So Jacksonville State, who lost to Jacksonville, which is who Bellarmine beat in the finals, get to represent the Atlantic Sun Conference. Bellarmine is not going to be eligible until 2025. So the NCAA can confirm that they are, quote, committed to the D1 philosophy and operating principles. In addition, this legislation will increase the likelihood that such institutions will operate successful competitive programs at the D1 level. Talk about a load of horseshit.
What is the freaking reasoning? I mean, I get it. If you're going from Division 1 to Division 2, I can see it as like a penalty almost. Like, and even 4 years is a little much. But at that point, you flushed out any like D1 commits. But if you're that bad that you're going from D1 to D2, then they weren't that good anyway. If you're going up, so you're telling me if West Liberty tomorrow wants to compete in the Division 1 national tournament, okay, they're the number 2 seed overall right now in NCAA Division 2.
No, they're out.
Well,
they lost.
Yes, but okay, hear me out.
Gotcha.
A big time Division 1 basketball school wants to go and compete against people that are supposedly better than them. They get penalized for being good and able to compete with them.
It's a dumb rule.
I mean, granted, usually it's not an issue. This rarely happens. But why even have it in existence?
I just can't get over the words. To confirm that they are committed to the D1 philosophy and operating principles. So are you worried that they're not following the rules? Like, is this like...
They didn't pay the entry fee. I don't understand what you're missing about this.
That's what I'm getting at, Jim. And I thank you for bringing that into play, is that we don't want Bellarmine to profit from getting to the tournament and playing in the tournament and all of the brand recognition and everything else that comes with it. So if this was a football team, they get money for going to a bowl game, even though we all know how some of us feel about bowl games. This is, potentially that opportunity to get their name out there, to do these things and to get more recruits. This is what you want. This is putting a 5-year stay on being able to really recruit players to come to your program, because you can't sell them on, all you can sell them on is we get to play for a conference championship, guys. And then after that, it doesn't matter because we're not going to the tournament until 2026.
All right.
Stupid.
We're kind of beating a dead horse. It's a stupid rule.
Stupid. Okay. So any other thoughts on the tournament? We're going to get deep into this on this week's betting episode. Any other thoughts with the breakdown, the brackets? I'm super pumped. Personally, I would really love to see Tom Izzo and Coach K play in the second round, and for Izzo to beat Coach K and knock him into submission.
Yeah, because you lean that way, Muff.
I don't lean that way. I am squarely on the other side of that fence.
Okay. Can we talk about the women?
You want to talk about Ohio State, who made it in, Jim?
They're going to beat Sister Whatever Faces team.
Hey, Sister Jean, hang on.
Hang on. Hey, Sister Jean.
Keep singing the Sloopy song, baby.
Hey.
Keep singing the Sloopy song. That's fine.
Do you like it?
What's the story? Really, real talk here. What's the history of that song?
I don't think you deserve to know.
Does it have anything to do with Ohio State, or is this another Ohio State?
I don't think you have deserved to know. As much shit as you talk on them.
Did Ohio State steal this like they stole Script Ohio? Or
we're moving on. How many Penn State?
No lies detected. That's all I want to know.
How many Penn State teams are in the tournament this year? Men, women.
There are multiple options.
Men, women.
We don't want to get into what's going on in the Ohio State women's program. Let's please not get involved in that.
The women are in.
I understand. You don't want to talk about that program, though.
Just saying.
I could talk about the women's tournament, Jim, since you are so knowledgeable.
Alex, who are our top seeds?
Oh, Jim fighting for the cause here.
Top seeds in the women's basketball tournament. We have the South Carolina Gamecocks, the defending national champion Stanford Cardinals,
Cardinal.
Stanford Cardinal.
I listen, it's a big deal.
Okay, NC State Wolfpack and the Louisville Cardinal.
I think Louisville's the Cardinals. I think it's with an S.
I think they're the Cardinals. Louisville Cardinals.
We're just going with the top seeds.
I'll do the second seeds too. I have the second seeds here too. Second seeds are Baylor Bears, UConn Huskies, Iowa Hawkeyes, and the Texas Longhorns. I think it's cool to see changes in this. It used to always be like UConn, and I think that's like more detrimental to women's basketball ratings than anything, because you get sick of watching the same people over and over. But Baylor and UConn, who have both historically been good women's basketball programs, are 2 seeds this year. I know UConn had a bunch of injuries. They had 7 of their 9 rotating players that missed at least 2 games for either injury or illness.
Well, in the beginning of the season, I think they were like 2 or 3 weeks behind because they had a COVID outbreak.
Yeah.
They were in a bad spot.
They're buzzing now.
Yeah. South Carolina, coached by Dawn Staley, famous WNBA player from when the WNBA was first getting started. I am pumped to see what Caitlin Clark from Iowa does throughout this tournament. In case you two don't know, she's the player that is lighting up the scoreboard and throwing up threes like Steph Curry from all over the court.
Nice.
Jim, you want to talk about Ohio State since you're so proud of them?
Number 6 seed.
Got it.
Nothing else? Any snubs from this tournament? I'm going to say Penn State's a snub, even though I know nothing about that team. So I'm just going to call it like it is there. We're going to have a bracket challenge for the women's side as well.
What's it called, Muff?
The sports stuff with Jim and Muff $64 challenge.
If the winner will get $64 if they win the women's challenge. The men will have a tournament challenge, and you just get a sticker. Because here at Sports Stuff with Jim and Muff, we give more money to women than we do men.
Yeah, because the enterprise enlists a whole lot of women and it's a hierarchy.
Yep.
Okay.
What if they applied?
Oh,
we do actually enlist a whole lot more women than we do men, if you think about it.
Do we?
Yeah.
I want you to start listing them.
Sam.
Who's
Jordan.
Nate? Jordan, who has you as a foil. Emily. Emily's her own.
It's not our fault that you don't have a girlfriend.
Oh wait, this is why is this a me problem now?
Because you're the one who sets the numbers off.
Who's Alex's foil to
My
be on
girlfriend
the
wants
show?
nothing to do with this.
Alex has a girlfriend.
Alex's girlfriend isn't on the show.
She loves the fact that when the new episode of 90 Day Fiance comes out on Sunday nights, I'm usually hanging out with you guys. That's really why she loves this podcast.
She supports the show.
She does, because she without it, she would have to deal with me
right
complaining
here,
to 90 Day Fiance.
Get a girlfriend.
Skin has nothing to do with that.
All right, that's
I think this is gonna bleed into the interns. Yep. There's gonna be an intern discussion with this one.
You're gonna hire a female intern.
No, you need to. That's basketball. This is interns dumb tasks. Interns dumb tasks. Do.
Wait, can we? I think that what we do, I think Jim does his music that he had come up with. Go ahead, Jim. You want to go?
These are the interns.
And just for everyone's facial, I know you can't see him, but he grabs the mic closer to him and does these like sensual eyes when he does it.
It's like a 20s nightclub.
Yeah.
And not the 2020s either. The 1920s people.
Oh.
All right, Muff. Let's hear from Kev.
Well, this is what week 2?
3.
That's right. Week 3. The interns going out and us giving them tasks. As a reminder, my intern Kev, he's a 20-something jokester, and he's just looking to get that next lead for the betting, and he'll do about anything to get there. So Kev, after last week, having gone to Philadelphia and doing some recon on the establishments of the night, this past week, Kev was tasked to book a meeting with Roger Goodell and explain to Roger all of the advantages of allowing NFL players to bet on NFL games that they aren't playing in. That was one caveat. The only stipulation is that Kev had to talk Roger into players on those teams cannot talk about the bets they placed until after the game. And then they have to publish their bet tickets for the world to see, and possibly for everyone to trash talk. Are we good? Trash talk. The players that they were betting against, or why they bet against their friends. Sometimes there's a connection unstable thing that pops up, and I never know where we are in the world. So that's what Kev was doing this week. Apparently, none of my cohorts are trying to give me any bit of information as to what's going on.
Nope, we're good. I'm killing it.
So
You're doing so good.
Doing so good. So we're gonna jump to Kev. Kev, you there? Kev's joining again. Yeah, I'm here. Okay, Kev's back. Kev's back, everyone. Get pumped. Kev can get excited. So, Kev, how did your assignment go talking to Roger Goodell this week? Oh, I talked to Roger Dodger, and he was not happy that I stormed past his assistant, barged into the office to talk about the G word, the thing that Calvin Ridley did, that Roger said he can't play football anymore. But he heard me out because I told him that I talked to Will Smith about that movie, the one with the concussions, and people talked about it, and now they got to pay all the players all the other money. And I said I knew a couple dirty little secrets about that movie. Funny thing is, spoiler, I don't know a damn thing. I just told him that, and he started listening. So Roger and I kick it. I pull up the couch. We sit there and we talk. I pitched the idea. He told me he was going to make a phone call to his contact, who's the new VP that's supposed to talk about all the sportsbook stuff and lobby and, blah, blah, blah. Roger gives him money. He goes and figures it out. And then they come back with more money to Raj and the owners. It's how things work. We know. So they try to keep it on the up and up. But before we could get into the deets, security picked me up and threw me out on the street. just like that Ron White guy used to talk about when people threw him out of the bar. Anyway, overall, I think we made some headway with Raj, and I'm looking forward to an assignment after the draft. Maybe I think we need the heads to cool a little bit. We need the tempers to calm down, because Raj was not so pumped whenever I got True out on the street. So excited after the draft to have a little bit more follow up on this. And that's my report for this week. I didn't put it in writing, Muff. I know I'm an asshole. I don't do the things you tell me to do, but here we are. This is what you get. All right, Kev. Kev, you're right. You did not complete your weekly report this week, and it's punishable by more tasks in the future. But we'll figure it out. But Kev, thanks for going to talk to Roger. Apparently, we might have a letter coming to the Sports Stuff with Jim Muff Enterprise about the way in which you got to that meeting. But thanks, Kev.
I like it. Good job, Kev. Thanks for your commitment to the task.
Yo, anytime, Alex. Jim, fuck off.
Kev. Who's Kev?
All right. So, guys, I went to go check on Bernard. There was a note. Said gone to Ukraine. So apparently Bernard has
the man who doesn't leave the basement.
He's got signed up.
All right.
He's going over. But he left me a contact number for his cousin. Randy. Randy wants to be an intern. Let me tell you, I think he's our guy. Okay? So without further ado, you guys can ask him questions about himself.
Okay.
But Randy's bringing some race info and something special for Muff. How y'all doing? I'm Randy. Let's watch a NASCAR race today. Chase Briscoe's our winner. Here, I understand y'all want to hear some NASCAR news. Chase Briscoe, first-time winner, won that race, drove that thing home. Now, my understanding is, Muff, you're a good Catholic boy. You can't eat meat on Fridays right now, right? You can only eat that fish. I got an air fryer recipe for you, sir. Follow along.
I'm ready, Randall.
Okay. You get 1 pound of that there cod. You cut it up into 4 strips. Now you just decide how you want your strips. Sometimes some people like it big, some people like it small, but it's up to you. Okay.
But 4 of them. It's got to be 4.
Or 4 strips.
Okay.
Well, it depends on how big your basket is, but 4 strips should probably fill up your basket. Okay. If you're a big boy, I feel like you can handle it. All right. You get some out there kosher salt. Sprinkle it down on there. Fresh ground black pepper. Okay. Half a cup of all-purpose flour. 1 large egg. Beat it, and you beat it like well.
Yep.
Go
ahead. Go ahead, Randall.
Hey,
Go ahead.
Good. Okay. 2 cups of panko breadcrumbs. Panko sponsors my race car on the Sundays at the dirt track. So 2 cups of panko breadcrumbs. 1 tablespoon of Old Bay seasoning. Okay. Now this is how you do it here, Muff. Now you pat that fish dry. You season on both sides with that salt and pepper. Now you season it real good. You place the egg and the flour and the panko, and you make sure that it's real good. Got a nice little base to it. Get that Old Bay and that panko on there. Toss it, combine it, work it up, spread it all over, nice and smooth. Get it like it's this. You know what I mean? All right. Then you put it in the basket in the air fryer. Cook it about 400 degrees for 10 to 12 minutes. Gently flipping halfway through. You got to be gentle with it. You don't want to break up that breading. Okay? Till you got that golden, flaky, crispy, fishy. Okay? Then you're going to serve it with some tartar sauce and some lemon wedges muffin. You're going to love that there fish. Okay?
This is the bad recipe there, Randall.
I think you're going to love it, Muff. I think you're going to love it.
Did you, well, not did you, but do you, when you make this dish, do you go get this fish yourself?
Sometimes I go down the creek and I get me some of my fish. Sometimes I just go to the old Wally World and pick it up there at the supermarket. Depends on my mood. Depends on how much time Betty's got, to go grocery shopping. I don't know.
Oh,
Depends on what's
Betty?
going on.
Betty?
Yeah, Betty's my girl.
Is Betty going to make an appearance at some point? Just curious.
Betty's at home right now cleaning. Okay.
But she could come hang out if she wanted.
She could if she wants to. It's up to her.
Gotcha.
Randy, aside from this fantastic recipe, who won the race this week?
Chase Briscoe.
Okay, where did Bernard go?
He went over there in the Ukraine.
Did you send him to the Ukraine?
No, Bernard, he's a free spirit. We don't talk about him much at the family reunions, but he decided he's an awful fella. He ain't got a lot to do. He's around them computer machines. He likes to surf that there internets. And he decided that he wanted to go fight the good fight, putting it over there to Putin. So we just let him go.
Do you think that maybe he thought they said Pooter instead of Putin and he got excited and whatever?
Pooter, listen to your foul mouth. You need to praise Jesus right now with your pooter.
With my Pooter.
Praise Jesus with the pooter, Alex.
Well, I appreciate you boys having me on here.
You know what, Randy? We're glad that you're joining. I think we have to have a vote after this if Randy's going to join the team. But sounds like you like to talk about things that go left and talk about food.
We're voting. That's America. I like voting. That's freedom.
It is. We'll find out later, Randy. Thanks for joining the show.
Thank you.
All right, so
I need to know where Jim found. I mean, just from a note, Jim. This is how we got Randy.
Yeah, Bernard left us Randy.
His cousin.
That's his cousin.
Where's Randy from?
Well, from my understanding, why don't you ask Randy?
Listen, I don't know if Randy was still on the line.
I'm from Alabama.
okay. Do you like Auburn or Alabama?
Roll Tide.
War Eagle.
Are you the one that poisoned that tree, Randy?
I don't know nothing about that.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Alex. Let's hear from Mac.
All right. So last week I sent Mac to talk to various maintenance people who work in sports. I think he thought that he was going to get a report that these people made a lot more money and try to dip out on us. But I think when he tells us what he found, he's decided that he'll stay for the minimal wages we give him here.
Okay.
Hey, so Mac here. I did some traveling this week and talked to some people. First, I stopped down at Augusta National because that's beautiful and Muff likes golf and stuff. And I'm trying to get up in the company, so I did something that would please the boss. So I found out there that groundskeepers only make like $14.61 an hour. I mean, that's still more than I'm getting paid here, but that's a lot more physical labor. I was watching them haul around. Now there's a lot of them. So that, you're not just one guy taking care of that whole golf course. So that makes a little bit more sense. But if you look at all golf groundskeepers, it seems like the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Yeah, big words. Look that up. The mean is $15.56 an hour. Now, if you're going to go to the baseball games, the MLB groundskeepers, they average a salary of about $33,711 a year. The NFL dips down a little bit because, in the NFL, mostly now it's tough for one. But for two, you don't have like in baseball, you got the dirt and the grass. So you got dirt guys, grass guys. But in the NFL, it's all the same. So you only make $28,110 a year. Now, I looked up for basketball. I was like, how much could really go into a basketball court? Now, to work maintenance at Madison Square Garden, you're looking at $13 an hour. However, I learned something that piqued my interest. To be a security guard at Madison Square Garden, you make $30 an hour. Now, my friends are telling me I am not fit enough for that job, but let me tell you, a little bit of work and, give me the gun and I'll stand out there. $30 an hour. I could do it. Well, thank you, Mac, for your diligent research. I hope that you realize that, you have a pretty good gig here. Stick around, less physical labor. I do not think you would make a very good security guard, but we will encourage you to follow whatever dreams you have. I will give you a new task this week. with March Madness coming up, there's a lot of big games. Big games, and a lot of athletes have traditions. So I want you to go out and find me a few weird traditions that athletes have pregame, rituals, superstitions. Let me know what you find.
Okay.
All right, Mac. All right. Let's just work back up there. What's Randy's task for next week, Jim?
Well, I'm kind of enjoying. Are we keeping him on the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, week to week arrangement. I think he's good. He's good for next week.
So I really like the air fry recipe thing. Let's see what he can do. Let's get him. Let's have another good one. And I'm getting more clamoring for the slap fighting thing. So I want him to get into slap fighting. Let's hear some slap
That
fighting.
sounds like the
Research
perfect
it
task
or
for someone
get
like Randy.
into it. Yeah,
Let's-
you want him to
let's
do it or
research
just
it.
okay?
Let's research it, and let's give me another air fry recipe.
All right, and Kev next week. Kev's task is to score a ticket to a regional men's tourney site and sit with the lower seeded teams fans, and if they win, lead a court storming and let us know how it goes.
Okay.
I like it.
All right, and that wraps up dumb intern tasks.
This is Quick Thoughts.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Quick Thoughts. We'll jump right in this week. We have a variety of topics to get through here. We'll start in the NFL. We already touched some on the NFL. Let's talk about broadcasting aspect. Joe Buck goes to ESPN. Yay or nay, Jim?
I hate Joe Buck.
Anything else?
That's it. I hate Joe Buck.
I like it. That was a quick thought. Muff?
Jim's been listening to Brockmeyer, who also hates Joe Buck. I feel like, if anything, this is the most positive personality move over the past couple of weeks that ESPN's made in years. They've just been bleeding talent and or forcing talent out the door, and they're at least bringing talent in that makes sense, and it's going to help their brand.
Any rebuttal, Jim?
That doesn't make sense. We got rid of some great people at ESPN, and we got Joe fucking Buck.
It's better than getting rid of more people. That's all I'm saying.
Bring back the people we lost.
All right, and we're moving on to another topic in the NFL, tight ends. The Cardinals sign... Okay, I now see how I could have started that a little better. The Cardinals signed Zach Ertz to a 3-year extension before the free agency legal tampering period. This adds a tight end deal to also the franchise tags of Dalton Schultz and David Njoku. Where do you rank tight ends on a list of most important positions in today's NFL? Muff.
Quarterback 1, blindside tackle 2, lockdown corner 3, top wide receiver 4, tight end 5.
Okay. Any thoughts, Jim?
I'm not going to waste my valuable minutes doing that, but I believe the tight end is probably in the top 5 players that a franchise should have. I think that the NFL is not focusing that way, as per our fantasy teams. There weren't a lot of valuable tight ends out there.
All right. Any rebuttals?
All right, rebuttal from me. No rebuttal from me.
We're gonna try to corral quick thoughts back into being quick. So let's move on to professional basketball. This league, aka the NBA. LeBron James drops 50 points to will the Lakers to a win over the Wizards last Friday, making the longest stretch between 50-point games in NBA history by a player. Are we underestimating LeBron's greatness at this point? Jim?
No, nobody's saying he's not great. I think even with the much shit as we talk on the show, he is great. I just think that there are moments where his theatrics, his excuses, the excuses that are made for him, tarnish that greatness.
Muff?
I think sometimes we lose sight of how great LeBron is, and he has not done some things to help out the cause of the world recognizing him for what he is and the value he has to the game, aka the decision. So good for LeBron, way to go. I think the next thing that's going to continue to come up is, are we just praising LeBron for longevity, or is he actually contributing to the game? And at this point, he's still contributing to the game and to his team.
Got it. Jim, any comments?
No, that was good.
All right. Kyrie Irving is allowed to sit courtside unmasked for college and pro game, but he's not allowed to play due to New York City's private sector vaccine mandates. Thoughts, Muff?
Yeah, I saw this on Saturday because he was at the ACC championship game on Saturday night. Duke was playing, which is why he was there. He may have been there anyway, but I'm sure Duke playing made more reason to be there for Coach K. And then he was at his own team's game on Sunday as a spectator. Masked or unmasked at this point, this is just hypocrisy at its finest. And I'm not sure how this comes to be, where he can sit in the stands amongst a whole bunch of other people, but he cannot be a part of the team or even sit on the bench. At least sit on the bench.
Jim?
I don't understand. I don't get the whole COVID situation with masks and no masks and where we stand as a country. So at this point, I think the mask situation for Kyrie is overdone.
Okay. Any rebuttals, Muff?
Yeah, the reason he's not allowed to play and be on the court is because he's not vaccinated.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but with the rest of the world and their stance and the way they are, it doesn't matter. And I don't want to make this a political, this is sports, but you can walk through Target anywhere right now and nobody making you wear a mask and nobody's asking you if you've been tested or if you've got the vaccination. So I don't think it matters.
All right, moving on to college softball. Jocelyn Alo breaks NCAA softball record for home runs in a career, getting her 96th home run in Hawaii, which is where she grew up. It has been a somewhat long time coming for number 95. For number 96, I'm sorry, because number 95 was hit on February 20th, and Alo then was walked 16 times over the next 8 games for apparently no reason, as Oklahoma run ruled 7 of the 8 opponents. Is this in the spirit of the game? Jim, I'll let you talk about your girl first.
1, I love college softball. 2, cannot wait for the World Series. 3, Jocelyn is freaking amazing. I love her. Follow her on Instagram. She's great. 4, I think you have to intentionally walk her in the spirit of the game because, she's going to hit a home run on you. Do you willingly give up that run? No. You have to stay competitive. That's my stance.
Muff?
5 or 6. Here comes the next letter from the legal team to us as Jim loves her and follows her on Instagram.
I don't care.
First, yeah, I agree with Jim. Great on the accomplishment. This is like the Barry Bonds thing, right? These were not in the spirit of the game because they run ruled all of these opponents, which means they were winning by 10 plus runs. At that point, you just got to start pitching to people. Why are you walking somebody, put somebody else on the base paths? There's no guarantee she's going to hit a home run. She has the most ever, but doesn't mean she's going to hit a home run. It's not in the spirit of the game when you're losing by 10 plus runs to walk people.
Rebuttal, Jim?
I understand what Muff's saying, and I get it. But why would you willingly give up a home run?
It's not like she hits it on every one. She's hit 95. That's a lot, but that's not every at bat.
She's going to hit a home run. There's not a doubt in my mind.
No, it's not. 95.
Batted
95.
way more than 95 times in her career.
All right. This isn't
She's
like
gonna smack the shit out of that ball.
it doesn't mean she's gonna hit a home run.
I wouldn't. I would try to walk her.
All right, we're gonna move to golf world. I'm gonna keep this train rolling.
Keep it rolling.
Golf. Tiger Woods is inducted into the World Golf Hall of Fame last week, and his daughter Sam does the induction speech. Woods got a little dusty. What will be Tiger's legacy in golf? Muff, this is a good topic for you to start on.
Yeah, his legacy in golf at this point is more of the what could have been to me. That's what the current conversation is. At his height, he was the most dominant professional athlete in all of sports. The amount of conversion rate that he was winning tournaments when he was leading, and just generally, he entered a tournament, he won at a higher rate than anybody ever in golf by like 30 or 40% more, I think. That's what I want Tiger to be remembered for. And this is why I hope that he's able to return to the course over the next year or two and at least get some good rounds in, maybe win a tournament, because that will bring people back to that and not the what could have been if these off the course issues had not continued. Side note, if you haven't listened to his daughter Sam Woods doing the induction for him, good stuff.
Jim?
I think this is one of those where I would probably request extra time and be denied. But Muff, I kind of want to disagree with you. I think that golf wouldn't be where it's at today without him. I understand the feeling of what could have been. I get that. But people like me and others wouldn't give a rat's ass about golf had it not been for Tiger Woods. I think the money that's been injected by Tiger Woods into golf, there's a lot more that he's contributed to golf because of those successes than what could have been. I get the feeling. I think that's more from your golf perspective, who's a purist of the game and likes golf and has followed it a lot harder than the novice my side. But I think the legacy of the Tiger Woods is a lot more than what could have been.
Rebuttals, Muff?
I concede those points. I'm fair. That's good.
Good job, guys. You guys are growing. I like it. Next
Growing.
golf topic, the Players'
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about this.
Are we going to talk about it?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. It was held at TPC Sawgrass. They provided absolute carnage to the players over the weekend with record high scores, and the 17th hole proved to be the most damaging, with the water on the island green claiming more balls than the bowling ball retrieval system on a Saturday night. What's best for golf? Low scores or watching pros struggle through a course? Jim?
I think a little of both. I think there are weekends. I think you need weekends where it's the low scores and you're seeing the best of the best go out there and be the best. I think you need to see that they're infallible. They're valuable. I think there are race weekends where I want to see chaos and carnage, and there are race weekends where I want to see perfection and driving and skill. You don't want to see the same thing every weekend.
Got you. Muff, thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is another one of those casual fan versus somebody who's watched golf. I like to see the struggles. Do I think it's the best thing every week? No, but I would like it to see it more than we see it now. There's only like a few tournaments where you see pros like actually struggle, and then unfortunately we usually hear whine about it afterwards, which is where I get really mad. Because they whine, oh, that's too hard. PGA set this course up too difficult.
You're pros.
I don't like that. Everybody's playing the same course. Shut up and keep playing. But I think I'd like to see more of these struggling moments. Now, granted, TPC Sawgrass over the weekend, this is very much because of the weather. So it's not a factor of the course itself. It was the course because of its location and the weather that was blowing in.
Okay, I got it. Let's move on to basketball. Something a little more. What was that? What did I say the one time? Let's get down in Dribble Town. LSU fires LSU fires their coach, Will Wade, after accusations of 5 level 1 violations and a level 2 violation, indicating that they, along with the football team, have failed to exercise institutional control, specifically based on reporting that LSU and Wade were working with a go-between to provide impermissible benefits to players, their families, and people around those players. Is the time for these types of violations and punishment over? Muff.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess the punishment, maybe not. The violations are over at this point. I mean, I guess unless you go deep, if you go farther back than NIL at this point, because it's all legal-ish now as far as the violations from the NCAA is looking at, because that's just the Wild Wild West. My real takeaway from this is Mr. Wade, you could have followed the path of Coach O, but you decided to stick around. And unfortunately, this is now the demise of you.
Jim?
I don't understand how LSU doesn't have more sanctions as the athletic program as a whole with as much heat they have brought on themselves in the last year and a half. I just don't get it. To me, there should be extensive penalties on that program. Yes, NIL complicates things, but hot damn, they're always the news for something.
So this is the moderator interjecting thoughts. I don't think that the time for these violations and sanctions and stuff are over yet, because I still think there are things outside of the realm of the NIL that can be done that should be illegal. Like the college isn't supposed to be just handing out things to recruit players. It's supposed to be bonus deals for their name, image, and likeness. So a college saying, hey, I'm going to buy your mom a new Mercedes if you choose my school is not name, image, likeness to me. That's
right.
private.
I don't disagree with that.
But to me, that was like the question.
Well, Bryce Young also got $1 million NIL, so he can go buy his mother a vehicle with that. Like,
well, yeah, that's fine. He's doing it.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
We're not this was implying the school was doing it.
But
directly.
like, I think there's a fine line of if I'm the coach of a school and I have a relationship with a booster who can get me an NIL deal for Muff, my player, to buy his mother a home because of wink, wink, name, image, and likeness.
I guess as long as it goes through an actual company and it's
right, and that's why there's some gray area now.
And then I would want to see. I feel like you have to want to see, like, okay, I want to see that this player is doing commercials or something for this company, because if not, they're not getting paid.
Who's going to manage that? Because the NCAA threw their hands up.
Yep.
Me.
And that's the problem.
Moving on to baseball, because we could get down to a big rabbit hole there. In baseball, the lockout has ended. Woo!
Baseball.
Nothing? Okay, no wooing or clapping from Jim. But I'll give you some updates, and we'll go with our quick thoughts question. Opening day is April 7th. Mark it on your calendar, Jim. All the 162 games will be played. 2 additional playoff teams. Now there are 12 out of the 30 teams will make it. Nothing really was ever put in place to deter people from tanking their season. There is a universal DH. Beginning in 2023, a committee will be tasked to make decisions on any other changes, such as defensive shifts, a pitch clock, larger bases, and there must be a 45-day notice of any rule changes. Double headers will now be 9 innings again, and no extra inning runner at second base. Do you think any of this will change how you feel about baseball and make you want to watch it? Muff. Was it Jim? Sorry.
I was excited to have Jim's thoughts.
It's Jim. We go, Jim. Let it rip.
No. This is stupid. This, in fact, makes me want to watch baseball even less.
Why?
Because this was a big strike for nothing.
Okay.
There are no real changes, no real things to make the game more watchable. Just a bunch of bitches squabbling over money.
Muff, thoughts?
Oh, Jim. This is so it's funny that they only went to 12 playoff teams. The owners wanted 14 because
why not put them all in?
Because the owners wanted more money, more possibilities of money. We will see where this committee goes. Yes.
I just read a thing that yesterday the last Tom Brady ball.
Oh yeah, 550,000.
$500K. Ain't the last Brady ball now.
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
He could pull a Drew Bledsoe and get his ACL torn on like the first series of the season. That wouldn't that come full circle.
Mm-hmm.
So this committee that's going to look at these rule changes is comprised of, I want to say the numbers, like 7 league assigned representatives, 4 or 5 player reps, and like 1 or 2 umpire representatives. Anyway, it's like 7 to 6. 7 for the league appointed people and 6 for the other ones. So the league's already got that figured out. So they're going to push through whatever they want to push through. None of the changes make me want to watch baseball more or less. But I am excited that the players were able to get the owners to cave into some of their demands, especially when it looks at terms of service. And the player minimum went up. I think it went from like 500 to 700K. So that's a good thing for the everyday player that is not going to make the multi-million or tens of $1 million contract. That they're going to, even if you play in the league 4, 5, 6 years, you have some generational wealth to pass down with your family. So good for baseball.
I'm not even going to ask Jim if he has a rebuttal. Moving on to hockey. I added a few hockey talks in for us. The Detroit Red Wings, Mark Stahl, has played his 1,000th NHL game, joining brothers Eric and Jordan, who have also played over 1,000 games. They're the first trio of brothers to each play 1,000 career games. What do you think of the legacy of having 3 children all play over 1,000 NHL games? Jim?
As a parent,
yeah,
I went to a lot of hockey.
Okay. Muff?
Listen, the Gronkowskis can't even compete with this.
Yeah.
We talk about the Gronks and like that family of, I mean, I'm not the first person to say this, that family of meatheads, and how they, have just bred these football playing just phenomena. But let's be real honest, this is an accomplishment. This is a big deal.
Yeah, it is. Kudos to them. I really just wanted that to be thrown out there. I think that was cool.
Or the Watts as well. We talk about the Watts in that way too.
Sure. All right. In the last topic for today's quick thoughts, a junior hockey league player gets a lifetime ban for punching a ref in the face in the United States Premier Hockey League. Do you think that's a lifetime ban?
Yes.
It's a whole lot more reasonable sanction than Pete Rose.
Yes.
Gotcha. In the face. All right.
So Alex, what not just Alex, maybe about everybody here. This is an aside from quick thoughts at the end, so I can get going for this, whatever. What to you would be an action? What is the line that you would cross knowing that you're going to get a lifetime ban if you're participating in a sport? What is the thing that you would do? Is it punching a ref in the face? If you knew that was the outcome and you were that mad about the outcome of a game or something like that, is punching a ref in the face the thing you would do, or would you like go farther than that?
I think you would have to do something super, super, like, I don't think I would get a lifetime ban over a bad call. I think for me, it would be like a courtside fan, like saying like super effing rude things and me just finally snapping. Like not just heckling, like being like, again, like racist, sexist, homophobic, any of the other slurs, bringing up like people's family in really bad ways, things like that. I think that for me would be the one thing that could make me snap. But I don't think I would, if I knew I was getting a lifetime ban from the sport, I don't think one bad call would push me over. Now, if I knew I was leaving, like the next day I was retiring and that was like a secret nugget that I had in my head and something happened, I would go out with a bang for sure.
A secret nugget.
It's like the McDonald's chicken nuggets I had all over the house, and when I'm hungry, I'm like, oh, look, a secret nugget. I don't do that. I was just kidding. Clarify.
Jim, would it be an off the court thing or an on the court thing?
I think all the things that Alex said definitely would get me, I would definitely punch him on the face. And if I had a shot to punch Jim Harbaugh in the face.
You take that. If you were in a college football game and you just happened to be on the Michigan sideline,
I would punch Jim Harbaugh in the face.
You would find a way. That would be worth the ban.
It would be hard for me not to punch Jim Harbaugh in the face.
I feel like, so I'm going to use basketball as an example. If I was an NBA player and I was aware, because this happened in the NBA, that there were referees that were fixing the outcomes of games. And I was aware of that. I think if I was in a situation like Alex, where I was on my way out the door and it was one of my last games and one of those officials was there, I would make a point to probably get overly physical with one of those officials.
Yeah, I don't think it's lifetime ban. Like if I thought I was going to get a lifetime ban for that, I wouldn't do it. It's not worth that.
Punching Jim Harbaugh in the faces.
Oh, absolutely.
What about any other Michigan coaches? Would you punch Juwan Howard in the face?
No.
He saw he'll hit back.
And I respect that guy. Like, he's got my respect.
All right, so I gave out some points this time. I gave out a +1 to Jim for his Joe Buck sucks answer. I don't necessarily agree, but it was a quick thought, and I thought he really stuck to the motto of the show. So kudos to you. I gave a +1 point about Muff for an agreement. Muff saying that the walks on ALO were pointless. They did not affect the outcome of the game. If you're losing that much, you're just doing it so this girl can't hit more home runs. I took 1 point away from Jim for trying to interrupt baseball talk with football because we all knew what you were doing.
What are you talking about? What did I do?
Interrupted baseball talk with football. Muff was in the middle of his baseball answer, and you're like, haha, Tom Brady's last ball, which I did think was an interesting point and very funny, but we all knew that you're not paying attention to baseball.
It came on the phone, you jerk.
Because you're not paying attention to baseball.
Oh, yeah, it was definitely baseball. I don't care. Go ahead.
I knew that. We all knew. So Muff wins this week with 1 point.
That's some bullshit, but all right.
Hooray.
That wraps up Quick Thoughts, I think.
And that wraps up Quick Thoughts, which brings us to the end of the show. Thanks, everybody, for listening along. Again, if you're making it to the end of these episodes in the dark days in the NFL offseason and just football offseason generally, we appreciate you. We hope that you'll give us some feedback, what you think about these new segments and these new things that we're chatting about. If you have a topic that you want to get inserted into Quick Thoughts, or you have an idea for a segment, or you have an intern that you'd like to make a guest appearance on the show, let us know at Sports Jim Muff on Instagram and Twitter, Sports Stuff W/Jim Muff on Facebook and in the YouTube. And remember, you can be a winner in the months of March and April by joining the bracket challenges for both the men's and women's tournament. And to do this, all you need to do is follow the model of the show. Tell a friend. Make a friend. Be a